So NLP started actually by the founders, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, looking at successful psychotherapists. So they were wondering what's the sort of question of modeling is, what's the difference that makes a difference? What do these people do? How do they think that is different than people who perform at only an average level or a poor level? So in NLP, we're often looking at what are these critical factors that allow somebody to move from poor to good and ultimately from good to great. In my own work with NLP, I spent a lot of time for the past 25 years examining leadership and effective leaders. Not only in the Silicon Valley area, although Apple was my first client, so I've sort of accompanied and witnessed the developments at Apple for the past 30 years, but also many companies throughout Europe, South America, Asia, and really having this chance to say, you know, what are some of the differences that make a difference in effective leadership? And how do people and companies, again, move from poor or average to good and good to great? And so today I want to, today and tomorrow I want to share a little bit about that with you. And that's, the foundation for what we're calling authentic leadership. What does it mean to be an authentic leader in times of change and crisis? Certainly, I think one of the things that we know is that when things are changing, especially when they're changing dramatically, it's essential that people feel a sense of rapport and trust to whoever is the people that they perceive in a leadership position. And that's where I think authenticity becomes very important. People don't usually want to follow a false leader, they don't want to follow inauthenticity. Although it's a lot easier for people to kind of pretend in times that are not so difficult or not so challenging. But when things become challenging, this is where this notion of authenticity becomes quite foundational, quite fundamental. So basically, I think our question is, what would be, and the other part of success factor modeling is, once we know what some of these differences that make a difference are, what are some of the types of tools and methodologies that we can use to transfer or develop those critical success factors in other people? So how do we spread those success factors? How do we, train people or develop those in people? So that's a large part of what we'll be doing, again, in the next couple of days. I think hopefully you will be able to walk out of here, tomorrow with some very good tools for yourself, but also tools that you can hopefully share with others that you could either coach or transfer to others. A lot of these are going to be self-tools. Some will be interpersonal. Some will be sort of cognitive tools for how are you able to think about things. There'll be a number of different levels that we'll be exploring.